Hi guys, welcome to a Monday Night Mashup. You are here with me, Manny the Chocolate Chima, and I bring to you today's episode, which is Cali Top 5. So, Caledonian Mayhem just happened this past weekend, and it was an awesome event. We went down, we took some of our terrain, we knew everyone at the event, so it was awesome. It was like it's more like a get together than everything else. Yeah, Chocolate Chima, Dan, woo! But yeah, it was awesome. It was more of like it's more of a social. Once you get to go to these events, like people think the bigger events in the UK are all just a bunch of hardcore, unpleasant people playing games against each other. Just all they care about is winning. It's not, we're all there to win, but we're having a laugh with each other while we're doing it. And that's what the game's all about, really. So, we're going to talk about it because, all we're about is, growing the competitive community of 40k. And this is the way to do it. You know what I mean? Just work together with all the events. If there's a good event out there, we should talk about it. We know you guys want to hear about the lists and what did well and stuff like that. So here we go. I bring you the top 5. And I'm going to do it in reverse order. So we're going to go from 5th place and work all the way up to 1st place. So in 5th place, we have Mike Porter. Now, Mike Porter and Josh Roberts, both Team England players this year, they came 5th and 6th. Mike came 5th and Josh came 6th. However, they're both on 4 wins. And they both got 165 battle points. So they were literally tied. I think Mike's come 1 place above Josh because he won his first 4, then lost the 5th one, whereas Josh won 3, lost the 4th, then won the 5th. So Mike's got 1 more consecutive win than Josh. So I believe that puts him like 1 or 2 ITC points above Josh. So yeah, well done, Mike Porter. He's done absolutely awesome. Was representing Glasshammer on the weekend as well. Was wearing his T-shirt that he won for winning St George's Champion. It's awesome to see Mike up there in the top 5. And him and Josh were both actually running chaos lists. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Josh's list with Mike's as well, because they were quite similar lists. They just had 1 or 2 things varying about them. So Mike's list, if we just have a quick look at it, there's a lot of characters. So the characters are Araman, a sorcerer in Terminator armor, a Zangor shaman, a Changecaster, a Poxbringer, and then there is 1, 2, 3 Zinch Demon Princes. So there are 8 Psykers in his army. That's crazy, guys. It's crazy. He's got 8 Psykers. They do a load of mortal wounds. So that's 8 Smites, and I think he does it in the order where the Changecaster and the Poxbringer, if they need to, if they don't have any buffing spells to cast in a turn, they will smite first. So one of them smites on a 5, then one of them smites on a 6, and then Araman, the Sorcerer, and the Zangor, and the 3 Demon Princes are all Thousand Sons. So all 6 of them will smite on a 5+. So that's 8, pretty much 8 smites going off every turn. 7 to 8 smites will go off. That's 14 to 16 mortal wounds average on your target, which is awesome. And then on top of that, there'll be buff powers. So we know that the Demon Princes can cast 2 powers each. So they can cast an extra power each. And I think the Sorcerer also can do the same thing in Terminator armor. And Araman can cast 3 powers. So there's another 5 powers coming at you on top of all the smites, which is awesome. It's gonna hurt any army. And then he had some Nurglings and a unit of 10 Chaos Cultists. So the Nurglings were in the Demon detachment, just to make it a battalion, I assume. And then the Chaos Cultists were in the Thousand Sons, also to make that one a battalion. The other 2 troops choices in the Thousand Sons were a unit of 30 Zangors and a unit of 29 Zangors. Absolutely awesome units. With Brayhorns, they get an 8-inch charge when they drop in from reserve. You can Dark Matter Crystal them over. And they're just a screen for all the smites. And then in the Demon Battalion, the other 2 troops, as well as the Nurglings, were 30 Pink Horrors, because it's a way of clearing screens for you. They fire 90 shots when they come down. You can give them +1 to wound with a power. And I believe you can give them reroll once from somewhere. you can try and give them reroll 1s, and then you can give them +1 to wound. That's really good. So they clear screens for you, but also they protect your characters. They've all got a 4+ invulnerable save. It's not too shabby. And then there was a unit of 30 Plague Bearers as well. Man, 30 Plague Bearers is hard to shift, especially when you've got that Poxbringer, because he casts the power where they get an extra -1 to hit. So if you want to shoot the Plague Bearers, because they start above 20 man at the start of the phase, you will be hitting them at -2. So it's quite hard to shift the unit of 30 Plague Bearers, and they will just, stick at it in front of the Demon Princes and save the Demon Princes, let them get their smites off more effectively for a couple more turns, and they're just an all-round pain. The Plague Bearers are just a pain. They're so hard to shift. So I played Mike on the weekend. After we both won our round 1s really big, we played each other in round 2. It was a really, really good game. Really, really close game. One of the best ones I had on the weekend. And it was a small win to Mike in the last turn. It was all to play for right down to the very last turn. So he played the list very well, and he knows all the ins and outs of the list. So well done, Mike, for finishing 5th. Now in 4th place, we have James Mackenzie. So James Mackenzie was using Genestealer Cult, which is interesting because a lot of people have gone off the Genestealer Cults ever since Mental Onslaught got nerfed. Loads of people think that that was the biggest thing that they had. I mean, it was a very good power, and it hurt a lot of units when it got it off. But the way that they've changed it in the FAQ is that now if your opponent rolls a 6, they automatically break out of Mental Onslaught. So yeah, it's been nerfed, but I don't believe it's been hit that hard. And James proved it by coming 4th. He used Genestealer Cult this weekend, and he did have some hard matchups, I believe, and he's come out in the top 4. So in 4th place, James Mackenzie. So he was running the Vigilance Defiant Deliverance Brood Surge detachment, which was Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor. So he had an Acolyte, a Primus, and then he had 2 units of 15 Acolytes with 6 Rock Saws in each unit, and then a unit of 20 Acolytes with 2 Demolition Charges and 19 Flamers. Because we know that they can fire their Flamers when they deep strike in, because they can come within 3 inches, I believe. They can deep strike within 3 inches using a stratagem and then fire immediately. And then they can fire again in the shooting phase. But what they're really good for is they can come down 3 inches away, and then they can flame a screen away. And because they do it immediately, the rest of your units that then deep strike in can land in the gaps that they've just punched open by killing the screen. On top of that, there were a unit of 10 Aberrants. Aberrants are super tough, and they hit like a ton of bricks. And then there was a Clamorvus, a Kelemorph, a Sanctus. Then there was another battalion, and that was a mixed battalion. So there was a Patriarch in there, a Magus in there, 3 units of Brood Brothers, and then some Athlon Jackals. And that's because they can have 5 blasting charges. The Athlon Jackals are pretty good. I've played against them myself when I was using broadsides, and they are quite horrible, throwing all of the demolition charges in one go. It's really, really good. And then he had a Brood Brothers battalion, Astra Militarum. There was a company commander, a Primaris Psyker, 3 infantry squads, and then there were 2 Vulture gunships with twin Punisher Gatling cannons each, and a heavy bolter. So these Vultures pump out, 43 shots each, I believe? So that's 86 shots. If that's not going to clear screens for you, I don't really know what will. So the Vultures are used to clear screens, I believe, as well as the Athlon Jackals are there to jump in, and if they can reach something big, they will throw their demolition charges, and if not, then they clear screens as well. And then you have the 20-man Acolyte unit with the Flamers. They can clear screens for you as well. So it's all about clearing screens to get in, with the 2 15-man Acolyte units with the 6 Rock Saws in each, and also with the unit of 10 Aberrants. If they make it in, they normally hit something really hard and then tag something else, so it can't fall back and shoot, it can't fall back and charge, and you've got people at that point. It's a really, really good mechanic. So I really liked James' list, and I'm really glad that he came top 5. Well done, James. Now, onto the podium finishes. So we have Tony Chu. Tony Chu is England vice captain, and he is using his Eldar Flyers. Damn Eldar Flyers. So Tony was using 2 Hemlocks in a flyer wing alongside 3 Crimson Hunter Exarchs, which had pulse lasers and star cannons. And then there were 3 Forge World flyers as well, called Knightwings. And they had twin Bright Lances each and twin Shuriken cannons. And they also had a crystal targeting matrix. So a crystal targeting matrix means that as long as they target the closest unit to them, they don't suffer the penalty for moving and shooting heavy weapons. So they can still hit on 3s as long as they shoot the closest enemy model, which isn't too hard considering they've got an ability where they can turn to face an enemy unit. Doesn't matter which way they're facing. They can turn to face an enemy unit, then make their move, and then turn 90 degrees at the end of it, which is horrific. It's just mad, and it does really well. So with that range of flying as well, you can pretty much always make it so that the thing you want to shoot is the closest thing to you anyway. So I really like that mechanic. And then all he had after that, because he's got 8 flyers, what he could fit in after that was a Farseer Skyrunner and 3 Fire Prisms. So his list literally was 8 flyers, 3 flying tanks, and a Farseer Skyrunner. It was an insane list, and it shows. I mean, the Eldar Flyers are really at the top of the meta right now. We all hate them. Everybody that plays against them hates them. Everybody that uses them loves them because they are so overpowered, and they can delete most things. And you look at it and you think they can't delete an army that's got a high body count, but they can. The armies that are hordes with high body counts are normally the ones which don't fare too well at killing planes. And that means that the planes have kind of got like a free house. They can stay out of range and make sure that they get 6 entire turns of shooting at you with as many planes as possible. And that should thin out even a horde. Then the Fire Prisms. He's put the Fire Prisms in there, and they fire 2d6 shots each. And they can hurt hordes a lot. So it's a very well thought out list. I like the Fire Prisms being in there with the Flyers. And Chewie went 4 and a draw at the event. He didn't lose a single game. He went undefeated. He won 4 games and he had 1 draw, and the draw was against me. Yeah, we stopped him getting a win. You have to stop Eldar from winning. You have to. It's duty. So me and Chewie played, and it was a really, really good game. Probably the most exciting one, I would say, of the weekend, just because one turn Chewie was winning, one turn I was winning. Then Chewie had a really good turn, and it looked like I was totally out of it. But then I had a great turn, and Chewie had a not-so-good turn, and that put me straight back in there for the winning. And then Chewie got 2 points in his last turn, and I knew I had to get 3 to at least draw. So I got hold something, hold a bonus one, and hold more. But I couldn't kill a unit. By the time that we got to turn 6, he'd shot me that many times. He'd wiped out a lot. I'd lost a whole Deathwatch unit at this point, and I lost my Bullgrins down to the last 2. I had all of my Smash Captains, and my Librarian Dreadnought had died. There was literally, I think, 2 units of Deathwatch on the board, a Librarian, a Calexis Assassin, and 2 Bullgrin. So I literally couldn't kill anything. I cast a few smites to try and take a plane down. I took a couple of wounds off it. Then I shot it with all of the Deathwatch, and it only took like 4 or 5 wounds off it. So it was down to 4 wounds, I believe. But I just couldn't do it. I couldn't kill it after that, and that meant I couldn't win because I didn't get kills in the last turn. It's really, really hard to play against Chewie's list. Chew is a wonderful player as it is, and then on top of that, he's got such a lethal list. It can, if you make one mistake, it can be over just like that so quickly. But it's not even about making a mistake. If he plays it right, it's very hard for any army to beat it. So well done, Chew, on coming third. Then in second place, we have Marcus Hinson. And Marcus has been doing awesome lately with Knights in an Imperium sort of soup. And again, he took Knights in an Imperium sort of soup. So there was a Guard Battalion, a really small one. The only thing that was extra that wasn't really needed was 5 Tempestor Scions. But they're only 28 points more than a regular infantry squad. And I bet they can do shenanigans. And then he's taken some mortars, 6 mortars. And then he's got a Admech Battalion. And that's got 2 Tech Priests and 3 units of... No, 2 units of Skitarii Rangers and 1 unit of Skitarii Vanguard. I'm not sure why he's gone that way. And then the Knights that he has are 3 Crusaders. They all have the Thermal Lance and the Avenger Gatling Cannon. So, Thermal Cannons, Gatling Cannons, the output on them is insane. Really, really good. And I believe they are Taranis. Yes, they're House Taranis. And we talked about this in one of the bat reps that we just did, guys. House Taranis is one of the best houses because, well, I think post FAQ, it is probably the best house just because of the get back up and act normally stratagem. And when you're running 2 battalions with them, they've got 17 command points then. And I believe that that's what Marcus was doing. He was using the CPs very wisely just to use the get back ups and act normally stratagems. Therefore, it made it silly hard to kill even one knight. And I don't know, I really like it. I'm liking that I'm seeing knights up at the very top. It's awesome, something different. And Marcus, as we all know, he's been doing really well this year. He's been winning a lot of events and podiuming, consistently coming in the top 10 at pretty much every event that he goes to. So well done, Marcus. And I really like his list. It's awesome. If you guys really like Knights, if there are any Knight fans out there, I would really recommend trying Marcus's style list with the 3 Crusaders that can get back up. And then just a couple of troops from, Guardsmen and Admech. Literally just to give yourself some CPs to spend. And yeah, and you're off to it. Marcus did really well. He won all 5 games. So Marcus could have come first, really. He was 1 battle point off first place. There was just 1 point between him coming second and Malik coming first place. So well done, Malik. Congratulations on coming first. But Malik's list has got 3 Caladius tanks in there. These hover tanks that are Custodes Caladius tanks. And they are crazy good. They are crazy good for their points. And they bring the pain, these Caladius Grav tanks. So Malik had 1 Knight Crusader, who was on its own. I believe it was Krast. And then he had the Caladius tanks with the banner, the Vexillus Praetor, I think it's called. The banner that makes them -1 to be shot at. And then there was a shield captain. So these Caladius tanks are hitting on 2s with rerolls, which is absolutely insane for a tank. Hitting on 2s with rerolls. And they are only 210 points each. So, they're hitting on 2s. Then they've got rerolls from the shield captain. When you shoot them, they're -1 to hit. They have a 5+ invulnerable save. They are -2 to be charged. It is crazy insane. I can't believe how good these Caladius tanks are. And I think GW really needs to look at them. I think if you just... I don't know how they would solve it. But the Caladiuses are a bit too good right now. And I think the point is proven because there were only 3 players on the weekend that were using 3 Caladius Grav tanks, and all 3 of them were playing on table 1, table 2, and table 3 this morning. Yesterday morning. Going into the 5th round. Going into the final round, they were on table 1, 2, and 3. If that doesn't show that they are very overpowered and at least something small needs to be done to change them, I don't know what else will. But Malik played very, very well. He went through a lot of different really good top-tier players. So congrats, Malik. He's absolutely smashed this tournament. And he also had, on top of that, there were some tank commanders. There were 2 Punisher tank commanders with guardsmen, and it was to deal with infantry. So the Caladiuses have got 8 shots each that are strength 8, -3, D3 damage, which is really good. And then the Knight is also good against big stuff. But the Knight can actually help against hordes with the Gatling cannon and stuff. So if you were to play against tanks, you have the Caladius, you have all the Caladius Grav tanks, plus the Knight. But then Punishers, even on 5s, do quite a few wounds. But if it's the other way, then if you're playing against hordes, then the tank commanders do most of the work, but having the shots from the Caladius and the Knight really, really help it. So I can see why Malik's done really well, and he played very well as well. So they are our top 5, guys. I hope you enjoyed listening to the top 5 and how they got on. And the only other thing I wanted to mention about it was in Josh's list. So he said that Josh and Mike's list was slightly different. And it's because Josh ran summoning points. And it's awesome because I believe he had a Master of Possession. I'm not sure if he did. Don't hold me to that. But I think he may have had a Master of Possession. And a Master of Possession is awesome because it can summon demons of any god, which is really cool. And I know Josh was really liking the Epitome, I believe it's called. I think it's called the Epitome. It's the new mirror thing with the demons on it. And it's awesome. It can get +1 to cast and denies, and it can cast 2 powers and deny 2 powers, which is pretty awesome. And then on top of that, what else does it do? I know it does something else. It absorbs smites. I know that. Oh, and the biggest thing, if you can get that in close to an enemy unit, then you can charge some Zangors in there. Then if your opponent wants to fall back, they have to roll a leadership check on 3 dice. And if they roll above their leadership, that's it. They're out. So, oh, sorry guys. Don't know what happened there. But yeah, played that mirror this weekend too. And that's it. Yeah, if they roll above their leadership, they can't fall back. So you charge your Zangors into, I don't know, things that can fly. I mean, repulsors, for example. A couple of people were using repulsors on the weekend, and repulsors were really powerful. But you know, they were really powerful because people could play the repulsors a bit more aggressively. Whereas with things like tank commanders, you have to play quite cagey, because if somebody can tag them, then they can't fall back and shoot normally. So they become useless, essentially, for a turn. Whereas the repulsors, because they have the fly keyword, they were moving them forwards because they could shoot freely. And then if they were to get tagged in combat, they could still fall back and shoot because they have the fly keyword. Which is crazy. Crazy good on gunboats like that. However, that mirror... Oh, Contorted Epitome, I believe it's called. And it was so good because of that. Because you know, taking a leadership check on 3 dice is quite hard to do. And also, it had I believe that the mirror has a power that does -1 leadership to a unit. So, you know, if there is a unit which is leadership 8 or 9, which are the highest leaderships pretty much, if you -1 from that and their leadership 7 or 8, that's the average on 2 dice. If you're making them take that leadership check on 3 dice, they should averagely fail it, meaning that they can't fall back from you. So even if you were to tag something like 3 repulsors, then they can't fall back if they don't pass their leadership, which is awesome. I think that's really, really good. So well done on Josh for trying it out, and he really liked it. And the 2+ absorbing mortal wounds on it is really good as well. So, you know, it's really good in the Chaos Mirror matchup as well. People are casting smites on you and things like that. It just soaks them all up on 2+s, which I found absolutely awesome. And there you have it, guys. They are our top 5 of Caledonian Mayhem 2019. And I hope you enjoyed it, guys. And I will be back on Friday. Not the 3d6 leadership was easy to pass. Yeah, sure. But yeah, guys, I will be back on Friday, where I will be talking about a specific faction again and how to beat it. And I'll have an expert, I'll have an expert of that faction on here to talk with me, someone who's doing really well with them at the moment, and they'll be able to give us some tips and tricks about what makes their list so good, what they struggle against, and how to beat it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night. Peace.